list. Not going to waste any more time, we're going to go from lightest to heaviest, and we're going to start off with Junto Nakatani. Now, I'm quite a big fan of Junto Nakatani. I can actually make a case for him being in the top 10 pound for pound. I think he's one of the best fighters in the lower weights. So to see him at the low chance tier might be a bit confusing to some of you. My justification there is because I feel like if you're a lighter opponent against Inoue, you've got no chance really. Obviously there's a chance just because of how good Junto is, but the fact that someone will have the power disadvantage, durability disadvantage, and every size disadvantage that there is against Inoue, who hits like a truck, it's a bit of an impossible task really. For a lot of fighters later on in the list, their main case for beating Inoue is the fact that they're bigger and they have some sort of size advantage that makes it difficult for Inoue, as opposed to their actual boxing skill. Junto probably outskills most, if not all, of the fighters on this list, but it's just the fact that he's small. I don't rate his durability too highly. I don't like how he reacts to getting hit sometimes, so I think if Inoue hits him, it's very, very dangerous for him. So I think he's got a low chance of winning. We move on to the opponent who I think will be the next opponent for Inoue, and that is Murashidon Akhmadaliev. Some people have taken up the narrative that Inoue is ducking Akhmadaliev just because he hasn't fought him yet, but realistically, he doesn't have a title. He lost to Marlon Tapales, who Inoue beat, and he's just a name that people are bringing out to claim that he's ducking. He's not ducking MJ, he's probably going to fight him next. But Akhmadaliev is good, I do rate him, I just don't rate his style against Inoue. He's vulnerable to body shots, which is Inoue's specialty, so I don't think he's got much of a chance there. Skill-wise, he's definitely up there, so he's not going to go in the no chance tier. He's got great angles, great uppercuts. I don't see much that will pose much issue for Inoue. We move on to the other most likely opponent for Inoue in the future, and that is Australian Sam Goodman. To me, Sam Goodman is basically just the third Maloney brother, right? Inoue's already beaten Jason Maloney. I see Sam Goodman as basically the same fighter, really. He's just a bit bigger. The reason he's in no chance, even though I think he's quite a skilled boxer, I like his defence, I like his parries, is the fact that he's got basically nothing to trouble Inoue. Despite his defence, he has basically no offence to offer Inoue whatsoever. I don't see him hurting Inoue once in the fight. I don't see him making Inoue afraid to throw punches. I think Inoue will be completely comfortable the entire time. I think it'll be an easy night for him, really. No chance. Speaking of no chance, our next opponent on that tier is going to be Elijah Pierce. I know I said I was only going to include people who are realistic opponents for Inoue, but I felt like I just had to include him just in the off chance that Pierce actually sees this video, because he's been yapping so much about Inoue on social media. I might have to just put him down there. He got dropped by Arthur Villanueva. He got hurt a few times by Jose San Martin. That's many levels below Naoya Inoue. He's not beating Inoue at all. Moving on to, I think, if Inoue moves up to 126, this would be his most realistic first opponent. We have Angelo Leo. Now, it pains me a bit to put him at low chance because I'm quite a big fan of Angelo Leo. I think he's very good. I like his style a lot. I like his fight IQ. I like his defence, his offence, how funny he is to watch. But his issue for Inoue is the fact that he doesn't really have much to offer offensively. I know a lot of people might consider him a power puncher now after he knocked out Luis Alberto Lopez. But to me, that was more of a perfect counter-punch situation rather than Leo being a massive puncher. Leo was not known for punching at 122 pounds. He's only known for punching now after he knocks out Lopez. He hasn't done much besides that. And to me, if you don't have the power to trouble Inoue, it's a losing battle, really. If you don't have the size, if you don't have the power, you've got a very low chance at beating him, in my opinion. Because what that means is you need to match Inoue on his skill, and I don't think any boxer on the planet can match Inoue's skill. We're going to jump right up the tier list with Rafael Espinosa. Now, a lot of you might not be familiar with Rafael Espinosa. He's very underrated, in my opinion. And in my opinion, he's the best fighter at 126 pounds. This is the most dangerous fighter for him in that division. And there's many reasons for that. Obviously, him being a 6'1" featherweight at 126 pounds is ridiculous. The reach that he has is ridiculous. And it's also the fact that he's very, very good at using his reach. He's very educated with using his range, using his lead hand, dictating distance. He's really good at that. And even though he can fight at a distance, he doesn't always have to, and he doesn't choose to either. A lot of the time, he's the aggressor in the fights. He's trying to bully his opponent's land combinations. He's a very aggressive fighter sometimes. To me, he's like an elite level version of Sebastian Fundora. His defense isn't good, He's not good at all. But his chin is clearly good and his recovery is really good. We saw him get dropped really bad by Robeisy Ramirez, but powered through it and just started bullying Robeisy in the later stages of the fight. This is a fight where the physicality difference would be a real issue for Inoue in this fight. Now, Inoue should win, purely because of the defense of Espinosa. I think that's his main issue. But if you took away his defensive flaws, you're looking at one of the best fighters on the planet, in my opinion. So this is a fight where I can see Inoue looking human for as long as it lasts. Moving on a bit down, we have Nick Ball, the midget himself. I've put Nick Ball at a decent chance. I think this is also a fight where the physicality comes into play, mainly because of the style of Nick Ball. Nick Ball's a very physical fighter. He's been given the title of British Mike Tyson, but I think that understates his actual boxing skills because he's very, very good technically. At distance and with his jab, he's got blisteringly fast hand combinations, really accurate punch placement, great power. He's got good defence, but what I think makes it not as dangerous for Inoue is just the fact that he's fought people taller than Nick Ball before, right? He's not fought people as strong as him, but he's fought people taller. Also, the body shots for Nick Ball. Nick Ball ate lots of body shots against Ray Vargas. That's Inoue's best weapon. He got rocked by Raymond Ford. Regardless, he is a boxer who I think can take rounds off Inoue and make him look a bit human in times. To a former opponent of Nick Ball, we have Ray Vargas. Now, you might be thinking, why is Espinosa at the dangerous tier but Vargas is in the low tier? They're pretty similar fighters. Vargas is Espinosa, but with no offence whatsoever. He has offence to speak of, but it's not dangerous, in my opinion, especially to someone like Inoue. Vargas is someone who, against Inoue, will be on the back foot almost the whole fight. If Nick Ball can close the distance on you and start dropping you, Inoue's going to do it too. Obviously, the height will be an issue. It will be something that Inoue will have to overcome. But it's definitely a winnable fight for him, especially as Vargas is getting up there in age. He's slowing down a bit. He's very inactive as well. Inoue should beat him. We move on to maybe the most physical of all the fighters at 126 pounds. We have Brandon Figueroa. Now, Brandon Figueroa, everything I was saying about Nick Ball being rough and being dirty and making it physical for Inoue, Brandon Figueroa is maybe the most physical boxer on the planet right now. He's very, very rough. He always pushes. He's always holding the head. He's always pushing against the ropes. Also, athletically, he's quite a lot taller than Inoue. He's massive for the division. Even though he fought 122 pounds, he's still massive for 126. He's got a weird frame to deal with. He's got ridiculous cardio. He's got a ridiculous chin. And overall, for anyone, absolutely anyone in the division, he's an absolute nightmare to deal with. Obviously, the flip side with Inoue, his defence isn't very good, right? Figueroa, if you've watched him fight, he's all offence, no defence at all. Despite his great chin, I think Inoue would have the precision to make him pay for it. Moving back up to dangerous tier, we have Bruce Shoo Shoo Carrington. Now, this might be a weird one for some of you, just because Bruce hasn't really fought in the top 10 yet whatsoever. He's still relatively a prospect, but I believe talent-wise, he is the next generation for 126. I think he would beat everyone else on this list at 126. He's very, very good, right? To me, he's basically just featherweight Crawford, and he matches Crawford on skill, in my opinion, and that might be a bold statement, but I truly believe it. You can see his defence on display. It's very, very smooth. He seems to just have natural reflexes for everything. He's got nasty counter-punching. You can just sort of tell with certain fighters, they've got the eye for boxing, right? Inoue's got the eye for boxing. Bruce Carrington has the eye for boxing. But Inoue being Inoue, you have to favour him. Bruce hasn't really fought a top 10 opponent yet, so you can't say he will beat Inoue, I don't think, because we haven't seen him in world-level fights. But talent-wise, I think stylistically he is dangerous for Inoue as well. Inoue, one of his biggest flaws is his low hands. His defence does drop a little bit, and Carrington being a really talented counterpuncher that he is with excellent timing, he can definitely recreate some Luis Neri moments in there. So he's dangerous for Inoue. We move on. Down to the low tier, we have Lee Wood. Now, Lee Wood's going to be the first of the 130 pounds fighters. Lee Wood hasn't fought 130 pounds yet, but his next fight will be 130 pounds. And a lot of people have forgotten about Lee Wood just because he hasn't done anything whatsoever since beating Josh Warrington in October last year. That's about 11 months ago. Leigh Wood, to me, is just a bit of a fluke merchant, really. I know it's weird to say because he is a world level fighter. He's very good. He's got probably the best resume at 126 pounds. He's not a convincing round winner. I don't think he can consistently perform well enough to beat someone like Inoue, in my opinion, who's a massive step above the guys that Leigh Wood's been beating, like Michael Conlan, who's got no chin, Josh Warrington, who's got no chin since the Lara fight, Mauricio Lara, who turned up fat and out of shape in the rematch. But he's skilled, he's got good power, very good power. I don't trust him to do anything to Inoue, in my opinion. Moving on to one of the champions at 130 pounds, we have Emmanuel Navarrete. Navarrete once upon a time might have been at the dangerous tier, because after the Valdez fight he had a lot of momentum. A lot of people seemed to change their tunes on Navarrete. People thought it was a bit of a hype job. He had a bit of a weird style. He does have a decent chance at troubling Inoue. I don't think he'd beat Inoue. I think Navarrete, just with his complete awkwardness, it doesn't get more awkward than Navarrete, I don't think. It's hard to train for someone like him. He's very physical, he's very unorthodox, throws punches from the weirdest angles you've ever seen. Throws with power as well. He's a dangerous fighter. He's got a weird frame to deal with. And overall, he's a hard guy to get a convincing win over. But obviously, Inoue being Inoue, there's levels to it. All the guys that Navarrete has been beating aren't on Inoue's level at all. He's had a lot of close fights, like against Ruben Villa was pretty close. The first Dog Bay fight was pretty close. Obviously getting dropped by Liam Wilson, not a good look for him. I think Inoue would find the target eventually. Moving back up to the dangerous tier, we had Anthony Kakashier. This might be a bit of a head scratcher for some of you, just because some of you might not really know about Anthony Kakashier. You might know that he beat Joe Cordina on the Fury Usyk undercard. Kakashier, he's a bit of a nightmare to deal with, really. He's very unconventional, very awkward fighter to deal with, really. Especially because of his size, right? He's got a height advantage over Inoue. He's very big for 130 pounds. He uses his size well because his reach is hard to get around. Against Michael Magnesi, you saw it. He was on the back foot most of the time. And he was keeping his distance really, really well, working off his back foot with the jab, with the straight left hand. And just, in general, keeping his distance well. He's got good power. He's got a good chin as well. And for someone who's small and much smaller like Inoue, that's going to be a really hard guy to get to. Because someone who moves as well as Kakashier with power is someone who's going to make Inoue pay for his advancements. Obviously, Inoue's class comes into play because Inoue is not Joe Cordina, he's not Michael Magnesi, he's Naoya Inoue, and he will be able to catch Kakashier sometimes. He does leave his hands low sometimes, which is where Inoue would catch him, but overall, he's very dangerous, and I think he would beat a lot of people at 130 pounds. Moving on to the one fighter I believe that will beat Naoya Inoue, and that is Eduardo Sugar Nunes. Now, some of you may know him, some of you may not. If I show you these clips, you might understand.
You can really hear the punches.
If you consider the fact that Inoue started off his career at 108 pounds, which is 7 whole weight classes below this one, and then try to imagine Inoue taking these punches, I would seriously worry for Inoue in that fight. Now, Nunes, is he the most skilled boxer ever? No. I think there's some boxers at 130 that have a very good chance of beating him, particularly Kakashier, but specifically for Inoue, I think Nunes is just an absolute nightmare because of his size and his power and his physicality. He's a ridiculous athlete. You've seen the speed and the power that he puts into his punches. He loads up a lot, but some of them will get through because he is very fast with his punches. Inoue, with his high guard, some shots to the body will get through from Nunes, and a guy who's so much naturally smaller like Inoue, taking punches like that to the body, to the solar plexus, wherever it is, even to the guard, those punches will be punching right through the gloves and just knocking Inoue all over the place. Really, I would seriously worry for Inoue in that fight. Nunes' defense isn't great, does not have good defense, but he's got a great chin. And Inoue being the smaller man, I doubt his power will really carry up to 130 pounds against someone who's as juiced as Sugar Nunes. And also something that people don't really know about Nunes, because it's not on BoxRec, is the fact that he fought Shavkat Rakimov, who he stopped in round 11 after basically beating the piss out of him for 11 rounds. Rakhimov being a very tough fighter, very hard to put away. I don't think he'd stop Inoue. I think Inoue is just defensively good enough to survive. But Nunes, with his 27 out of 27 wins by knockout, I think he would seriously cause damage to Inoue. I don't think he's better than Inoue. I think he's just bigger and stronger and more powerful. That's the end of the video. Goodbye.